So today's use case, or more like a broad topic, because it's not only about one particular use case as we did in the past events, but it's more like about covering AI agents as a whole, which is the last trend in the artificial intelligence industry and what is called to sort of to change or to unlock even more value in business. So as I was telling you, this today is not about one specific use case that we have done in the past. Like, it's not about writing proposals or reviewing proposals or anything in particular, but it's about how we can use AI agents in bidding and proposals to basically to write better proposals faster, which is what we all want. But I will be covering overall concepts and specific examples. But keep in mind that even if I'm going to provide you a few examples in this talk, the potential use cases are many. So first, let's define what we mean by agents. So this is funny because everybody in the industry is talking about agents. It's going to be the big thing. You need to check out agents, etc. Like, everyone is very hyped about, and expectations are high about this. But then everyone defines agents differently. So anyhow, it often the idea of having an AI agent often involves this approach of having AI behaving on your or doing things on your behalf or to accomplish your goals autonomously. And so the feeling is very similar to when you are working with a remote coworker. So you assign tasks and you give them some time, check the results, maybe iterate a little bit, but you are not having to, you don't micromanage them, and you are actually not following up with them or sort of following the process or guide them through the process. So basically you assign tasks, get your, and wait for your outputs. So it's very similar to when you're working with one of tools, but it's very different in the extent of use cases and the complexity of the scope you can accomplish. Because you don't need to care about anything more than just running the agents. But anyhow, that's sort of the promise, And the key right now is to really define what are agents good at, because even if they provide a better workflow than chatbots and copilots, because of they bring this autonomy and you don't have to guide them or to work on prompting on how to iterate with them, it's still to be seen the type of activities and tasks that these agents can take over. So during the last 2 months, I've been heavily researching this agentic approach for RFPs and proposals, because we have been developing the new platform for DeepRFP, and which includes a set of these agents and besides some other tools. And so I have good and bad news. The bad news is that RFPs are still too complex for any of these AI agents, no matter the AI model, even the smartest ones. I've deeply tested the top ones, and the proposal development is still too complex. Okay, so you cannot rely on an agent to go just check your RFP and then move around asking for input, following up with stakeholders, with contributors, managing procurement staff, etc. So at a broad level, you cannot have these agents managing the whole process. I don't think we're going to be, like, for sure we are not at that point, and I don't think we're going to be anytime soon because of the limitations of AI and the intelligence these models bring to the table. So we are still far away from this idea of prepare a winning proposal for this RFP and you just forget about this agent and then you get back the proposal. So not there. But the good news is that AI agents are able to work around current limitations, which we had with chatbots and tools. We had a few, actually, mainly 3 limitations when working with AI, where the possibility to, or the impossibility to pass very long inputs, sort of the context that you give the model, that's capped. Then you had the other limit that was actually harder than the first one, which is that you cannot get more than 2 to 3 pages of relevant content per request, per run. So that's a problem when you are doing proposals, because you are always limited with this. You need to sort of work on a small sets of requirements if you want to have a response for those, etc. You cannot generate full drafts and documents in a run. So that was one of the limitations with chatbots and also tools. And then the last one was that models, some of these models tend to hallucinate, sort of making stuff up, fake data, fake information. And with agents, what you can do is to mitigate this a lot. And I'm going to cover why this is the case and how you can do this. But so basically, the good news is that with agents, you can now pass a lot more information as input and let the agent figure out which specific information is going to use in every run. Then you can get full documents. So you can generate full drafts. You are not capped anymore with a 2 to 3 pages range. Of course, every run that is happening below is still limited by that, but from the user experience, you get a full document, and then you can layer some of these agents and mitigate hallucinations and this problem that some of the AI models make some information up. So, and this is crucial, because at the end of the day, what we want is this intelligence to serve our use cases. And when you are able to just pass your set of documents and don't worry about anything else, and also get your full documents, whether it's a compliance matrix or a proposal draft or a report that you are working on, getting that in in one call to that agent, even if the agent is calling successfully different models or whatever it's doing behind the scenes, you get the output as sort of as a report. And so this autonomy, this brute intelligence, if you want, is unlocking use cases and very helpful. And then, as I was telling you, also critical is the possibility to check for hallucinations, because now imagine you have, let's say, for example, you are trying to do a compliance matrix, and if you run this compliance matrix through some of the tools, AI tools or AI chatbots that we have today, maybe it hallucinates on some requirements. But if you do that same thing and some AI agent does that, like iterating on that matrix, like maybe a couple of times or 3 or 4 times, the likelihood of having the same requirement hallucinating every time is very low. So you can sort of filter out hallucinations. And also, if you are working with agents that work with proposal drafts, you can have one agent or one AI model that is behaving as a proposal writer, and the other one that is behaving as a proposal reviewer. And so you get the output from the writer, the reviewer checks that against your database, checks for hallucinations, provides feedback to the writer. And all these iterations happen behind the scenes. So the user, you in this case, you don't need to care about any of these. You just provided your inputs, ask your outputs, and now you need to wait for a few minutes until the output gets in your final form. So personally, this is where I see the most potential of AI agency proposals in the short term, like helping bidding peers to overcome the limitations that we had with chatbots, copilots, and one-of-run tools. So I think this will mean that nobody will still, at least for the first stages of a proposal, you won't need to manually run or guide chatbots and tools because of the agents. So what are some practices today with these agents? Okay, so once you provide these agents with the right inputs, also the instructions and a rigid framework, sort of a way of forcing the workflow so the agent doesn't go too free and follows the particular instruction. So you need to work with the structure of the task, if you will. Then AI agents work great at a specific bidding task. So, for example, analyzing RFPs, writing drafts, editing and reviewing, doing technical feedback as it was a virtual subject matter expert, and also open-ended cases. The key idea here is that agents are not unlocking a whole new level of use cases, because everything you can do with an agent, you could do with a chatbot or a tool. Now, the thing is, the practices are more attractive because first, you can do things at a scale. So it's not anymore about writing a couple of pages, but you can just go for the draft, for the full draft, the full matrix. And then also, these are like the practices that are right now having more traction and more interesting are when you are like in the first stages of the drafts or the proposals. So what I see, like I think this idea of having agents doing the first drafts or the first reviews for RFPs or the first iterations, and then having professionals equipped with tools and chatbots to finish those drafts, I think that's going to be a likely workflow from now on, because you can sort of call one of these agents to generate a 50 pages draft, and then you review that. And if you want to tweak some section, it makes more sense just to copy that section and tweak it with your chatbot or your tool, instead of having to recall the agent to generate the full draft again, but with your notes. So a combination of both, but I see this very crucial for the first stages of the proposal preparation process. So yeah, in the next slide, I'm going to show you like sort of a how to do yourself framework. But first, let me share a bonus industry insight, okay? Because I talk with many proposal professionals and also other artificial intelligence technology vendors because of DeepRFP, but also because of the newsletter I run and my content here on LinkedIn. So I've come with this categorization of applications based on their user experience, which has been evolving since we got very good AI maybe a couple of years ago. And so I wanted to share this category so you can have this framework in this mindset in how to understand like the different categories and the type of tools you can encounter find in the market. So first you have the common chatbots and copilots. Everyone is very familiar with this because are everywhere and it's what most people have tried. This is like, ChatGPT's, Microsoft Copilot, Claude from Anthropic. Pretty sure you are familiar with this. These are generic, very generic applications that are intended for anyone, any public. And so the thing is, you can do almost everything with them, but to really take the most of these chatbots, you need to learn how to use them, learn how to prompt them, how to iterate them with them, how to guide them to get what you want to do. And so this is the most common one, chatbots and copilots, and also is the the type of tool where most of the disappointment is coming, because many people just don't invest the time to understand how this works, and then you can very easily get disappointed with the results of these generic tools. That's the first category. Then you have the tools as a second category, and these are tools that are intended to be one-off, sort of, here are my inputs, give me my outputs, and I don't want to worry about anything else. So you just do that, you copy your inputs, get your outputs. These tools are optimized for specific use cases. So you're going to have tools that are for technical requirements, for summaries, for editing, for reviewing, for doing virtual subject matter experts or whatever. Are not flexible because every tool is optimized for one particular use case. But you don't need to learn how to use them because it's basically, here are my inputs, give me my outputs. And behind the scene, someone, often the technology vendor or the tools vendor, has already optimized the tool for that use case, selected the right AI model, use the right prompts, customize or train the model on particular data sets, etc. So all that work is done, so users can just run and move on. So this is the second category, as I see it, tools. And then this was basically where the market was like a few months ago, with these two type of categories. Now, however, we have AI agents as a new category. And in a sense, this feel like you are working with tools because, again, you don't need to worry about anything that is happening behind the scenes. You just provide your inputs and get your outputs. But the use cases you can implement are much more powerful. And I think this is where we're going to see the fastest evolution on complexity of the leading tasks that these tools and AI agents can take, but also, more importantly, in adoption. Because the moment that you can have these powerful agents that can do drafts in one run or compliance matrices in one run, analysis in one run, and you don't have to worry about how to use them. So it's like easy as a tool, but powerful as an AI agent. Then the adoption curve gets very, very easy for companies and teams, because it's like working with a coworker. Imagine you have a freelance that is specialized on doing drafts, and you just provide the RFPs and you pass proposals and you get drafts back. So this is the idea of assigning tasks and waiting for results. I think it's so powerful. So yeah, I always like to share like a framework for how to do this yourself. And it's true that when talking about particular use cases, it's easy to do yourself. In this case, you can also do yourself with agents, but you're going to need help from your IT people or your software development people, because they're not tools to build professional agents in a user-friendly way. So there are tools that are focused on software developers. So it's like you're going to need to do a lot of things, and then you're going to need someone to do some code for you. Okay. First, these tasks that you see now in the screen are the typical tasks that you need to do when trying to do some use case with AI, which is selecting the right model, gathering the relevant data, fine-tuning if required, then provide the right examples, the right prompts, iterate a lot, etc. So for agents, you have to do all these same things, but then you need someone to code for you, sort of the orchestration of the process and managing the logistics and the intelligence administration. So in this case, it will be like processing the inputs at scale, instructions for the overall process, working with frameworks, decision trees. This is very important because otherwise, some agents can go too free. So you need to sort of frame them in these decision trees. Like, no, we are doing use a proposal draft. Okay, don't go rounds around this. So managing lower AI models, because sometimes you can use a smart AI model that is managing the whole process of the agentic approach, and then you have smaller models that support that master in doing some stuff, and then iterative checks for hallucinations, etc. So to be honest, it's not super hard for engineers to get an AI agent working, but for end users, like if you are a bid manager and don't know how to code, you're gonna need the support of your team, development team, software development team, sorry, if you want to do this in-house. So this sounds like a lot of work because it is a lot of work. It's awful a lot of work, and I know it because I've been there. Okay, I've been there building a kit of over 20 AI tools and agents for RFPs, building and proposals. The last few months have been fully focused on agents and the new version of DeepRFP, which is just launched, and I'm gonna use it to show you some of the agents today. So that's the good news, that you have options to skip all the in-house work. But still, if you, for whatever reason, you want to do this in-house, it is possible. It's not that you need a huge investment or be a huge company to do this in-house, but it's gonna involve hard work and some software developers. So regarding these options, let me show you one of the options, which is the new DeepRFP application, which includes a set of AI agents we have already serving proposal professionals. And it's a small set today, but it's a set we plan to increase during the coming months. Sort of finish the live event here if there are no any other questions. Again, if you want to check any of the tools, AI agents, play with the tools with no limits, with all the features available, because we have different plans, different pricing plans. You can check that on the website, deeprfp.com. So the free trial involves everything that is in our elite plan, which is our top plan. So you will have the opportunity to check everything we have during 7 days with no limits. So do that if you are curious about the agents, the tools, etc. And then if you just want to keep aware of what's going on in the industry, getting some insights, and still not ready for trying any tools, you can get into my newsletter at justkarting.com that I send a couple of emails every week there that are about the status of technology and proposals, also how to do better at proposals overall. Like sometimes it's not about tools or artificial intelligence, just about proposals, stories, also share some job opportunities there and some other useful stuff, of course, for free. So that's also a resource that if you are more into getting insights, that would be the next step.